Welcome to Tripple A Tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to talk about fill and stroke in Adobe Illustrator. Here you can see fill and stroke example which I have prepared to demonstrate some of the basics. Here we have a vector fill. Then we have just a fill, and we have just a stroke. Okay, vector shape in Illustrator can have either a fill color or a stroke color or both. Okay, so now let's start with this square have both, have the stroke and have the fill. So when you look at down here, okay, the fill is red and the stroke, sorry, the fill is yellow and the stroke is red. Okay, so the same applies to when you look at the control panel here at the top. Okay, so now when we move on the next one have just a fill without a stroke. Okay, so when you look on this block here, you realize that the fill is yellow, but the stroke is a red dash, which means it's a transparency or no color applied to it at all. Okay, and the next one you realize that I'm clicking, okay, but I can't select it. Okay, the reason why I can't select it is because the fill is empty. Okay, and the color and the stroke is the only active object that we have on the artboard. So when you click on it and you come down here to the block, you realize that the fill is also having the red dash, which means that there is transparency or no fill applied to it. Okay, all right. So the fill and stroke squares in the tools panel, okay, is something you should really pay attention to once you are a beginner. Okay, once you get your head around it, you will really love it and you'll be very happy using them, because with Adobe Illustrator you can't go without them. Okay, next we are going to look at alignment of stroke. Okay, so we now know that every vector is created out of anchor points, and the anchors have handles add up to create a path, an outline of the vector. Okay, we have just looked at how a vector can have a fill or stroke apply in Illustrator. Okay, you can also tweak the stroke to behave differently in an outline. Okay, so that's what we are about to cover, and here are 3 examples of this. Okay, so these are the 3 examples that we are about to cover now. In Adobe Illustrator, the stroke can be either aligned to center of an outline, or the inside of an outline, or the outside of an outline. Okay, so with this selection tool, I'm going to draw an area, okay, over these 3 squares to reveal their anchor points. Okay, so as you can see here. All right, so let's explain them one after the other. Let me go in from my zoom to zoom these 3 up. Okay, the first one have align stroke to center. Okay, and when you come on the stroke panel here, okay, we have these options. So in case if your stroke panel doesn't show these options here and it's showing only the weights here, okay, let's go to the option here, then you have show option. So the moment you click on show option, the options are going to appear. Okay, all right. So actually, when we look at align stroke, our very first one, okay, it's been aligned to center. So how would you know that it's been aligned to center? If you look at the border line, which is the blue line in the middle, okay, that tells you that the stroke is been aligned to center. Okay, so let's check the next one. The next one says align stroke to inside. So let's click it and see what happened. You see that the stroke has been aligned inside, so our size has been reduced. Okay, and the last one, which says align stroke to outside. So now we want to align our stroke outside. So the moment you align it outside, you realize that the stroke has been aligned outside and it's a little bigger, but trust me, they are all the same size. Okay, the same size that but we just give it different kind of effects. Okay, so let me reverse it back. Okay, so now we scroll down. Okay, when we scroll down, you will see another set of examples here. Okay, these examples are displayed the various stroke scanners. Okay, effects you can achieve in Illustrator. We have 3 options we can choose from the stroke panel. Okay, so for example, we have the very first one on miter joint. Okay, so with the miter joint, you don't have any curvy at the edge of it. Okay, it's just straight. So now let's go to the second option, which says round joint. So the round joint, actually when you click, see what happened. You realize that the like edge of your stroke has been curved nicely. Okay, so now let's move on to the last one, which says the bevel joint. So with the bevel joint, when you click on it, okay, you realize that we have some straight. I don't know how to put it, but you will see that it have changed. Okay, nice. Nice. Okay, so next I want to demonstrate the dash features. Okay, so let's scroll down a little bit. You see the dash features here. Okay, in Illustrator we can add dash effect to your stroke, which can be customized quite extensively. As you can see here, I have 2 examples, so be sure. Okay, so let's first check how these examples were. When you click on your stroke and you come on the stroke panel here, you will see that the dash line is being checked. So let's click on it and see what happened. You see that the dash is no more there. So like the moment you click on the dash, then you have this dash here. Okay, so now the dash is set to 6. Let's set it to 12 and see what happened. You realize that the dash have increased in size and the space as well. Okay, so you can choose it either to align it to maybe left or right. So when you change it, you see how the changes is being done. Okay, so let's set it to 10 and we leave it like that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next one also is a dash line, all right, but with that one you realize that when you select that one, okay, the dash is being set to 0. Okay, and the gap is set to 10. Okay, so the moment the gap is set to 10, you realize that, sorry, it's this one. So when the gap is set to 10, so let's see, let's decrease the gap and see what happened to 5 and click enter. You see that it's closed without a space. Okay, so if we should set it back to 15 and click enter, you now realize that we have a very serious gap in there. Okay, so finally we have a stroke and options. Okay, in Illustrator we can add a range of arrowheads to stroke. Okay, so what do I mean by that? This is just a stroke. So let me draw a line just to demonstrate how all this is being achieved. Okay, so when I have this stroke here and I want to give it a head arrow, okay, these are the options for me, whereby I can go through and choose the one I think is okay for me. Okay, if this one I want, I'll click it, and you can see the head arrow here, and you can also manipulate the size of the head. Okay, so you can do that by clicking. So as you see, I'm clicking, the head is being reduced. Okay, so if you are okay with the head, then you let it go. So let's, for example, say we want to get a real arrow, so we want to get a back as well, and we click the back. So don't panic, you just have to reduce the size here, okay, to give you your accurate arrow. Okay, so the next one is, you can see that this arrowhead is round. Okay, so when you select on it, we can just click here, then you go to look for the head arrow here, then you select. Okay, so it's not anything that you should be scared of. And the last one actually is two-headed arrow. Okay, so we come here, we choose head arrow, we come also here, also we look for another head arrow, then we choose. Okay, so you can manipulate the sizes, which one you want it to be bigger, which one you want it to be smaller. Okay, so that's how this arrowheads here was achieved. Okay guys, so this brings us to the end of the fill and stroke in Adobe Illustrator. Be sure to take closer look at these options and do more practical on them. Okay, so in our next video we are going to learn 10 handy things you should know about Adobe Illustrator as far as you are a beginner, and that episode is the last episode we have on Adobe introduction to Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so see you in the next video.